This is the YouTuber Radical Living. He's got over 2.1 million subscribers and a thriving community. This is doubtless due to two reasons. First of all, he is funny and charismatic and likeable. And secondly, he's German. And funny Germans are as rare as rocking horse shit, aren't they? Now, I'm sure many of my miserable, bitter and twisted subscribers have probably never heard of Radical Living. But that's what he does for a living. Except now he's going to have to call himself an ex-German YouTuber, isn't he? Because some bombshell news appeared in the socials today when he made a post decrying life in Germany. I'm going to go through the video with you and tell you what he gets right and what he definitely gets wrong. But suffice it to say, I'm sure you can guess why he left Germany. I've said many times in the last few years now, I'm basically a single issue voter at this point. You could come in and run on a campaign or with a manifesto that you're going to pull down all the monuments, you're going to bulldoze Nelson's column and erect a 90-foot penis in the middle of London, and I would vote for you if at the bottom of that manifesto you said, I'm going to deport 10 million immigrants. That's it. I'm a single issue voter at this point. And Mr. Radical Living, he spells it all out, but he bottles it at the end and says, well, it's not all their fault, isn't it? No, definitely not. I think you'll find it is. I think you'll find it most definitely is. And when you listen to him, he knows it as well. He's got a haunted look in his eyes. You know what I'm talking about. Like the one child in primary school who, when you're walking through the woods and you find a kit bag full of discarded pornography in a bush, and you and all your friends are like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. There's always one quiet kid there with bags under his eyes who sort of looks like he has. I've just realised that last joke doesn't work for anyone under the age of about 30, does it? But trust me, kids, when I was a lad and we were playing armies down the woods, it wasn't uncommon to find carelessly discarded gym bags full of somewhat crispy magazines, grumble mags that someone had discarded. I'm thinking probably because they were scared to put it in the bin and they didn't want the bin men to find it. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's get to the story at hand. This is off Remix News. They went with a headline for it. I'm leaving Germany. Famed YouTuber cites crime, immigration and crumbling economy for his decision to leave his country. Radical Living also discusses the firewall against the anti-immigration AfD, stating, oh, we are the most democratic country in the world, but it's absolute BS. It's just not true. Yeah, when you ban free expression and prohibit your political opponents from running against you, yeah, you're not really a free country. I mean, I don't want to drop that on anyone, but that's how it works. If a fella in a suit and tie announces his intention to run against you, and you have 4 henchmen stuff him in a Hessian sack, bundle him into a bread crate, and then ship him off to Abu Ghraib, yeah, you don't live in a free country. So, sorry Germans if you're living under the delusion that you're a free country, but like everybody else in Europe, the Brits included, you're living under a globalist fascist autocracy who demand that by the year 2100, everyone on planet Earth is living in one gigantic shit country where everybody's beige and women aren't safe to walk the streets. That's what they're doing. So you're not free people. Just make your peace with it, lads. Trust me, you get used to it. Right, let's see what this lad has to say.
And once you get children, you also think about where you want to raise them, especially if you have a daughter. I don't think Germany is a good place to raise a daughter anymore.
Why isn't it a good place to raise a daughter anymore? I'm sure he's going to get to it. Can you guess? It was a great place to raise a daughter in the 90s, wasn't it? Everyone knows that. But then some little dumpy, little fat, wizened, poisoned dwarf came in and said, oh, we've got to let everyone come in. We are Germans, we can do it. And all of a sudden, it's not a great place to raise a daughter. Yeah, because going out for a quiet New Year's drink in Munich now involves dodging roving gangs of sweaty, hairy men from third world countries who might just drag you down a dark alley and give you the good news, regardless of what you've got to say about the matter.
Because women, in general, they don't feel safe anymore walking down the street at night. You don't have to take it from me. There's public petitions in all major German cities. Women want like vouchers for free taxi rides at night. In Berlin, they want to have like women-only subway wagons. And the stories you hear in Berlin, what women have to endure in public transport.
Vouchers for free taxi rides. Who's driving the taxis? Have you seen how many women have been assaulted by swarthy fellas in taxis? I don't want a voucher for a taxi. I want a voucher for a Kevlar jacket, a military issue helmet with thick chin straps, and a nice, easily concealable snub-nosed handgun with about 20 rounds in the magazine. If I've got all that with me, well then maybe I'll get in a taxi with an Iraqi.
To be honest, you all know the reasons why it is like that. I don't have to talk about it. But the fact is, women in Germany don't feel safe anymore, for good reason. And deciding to raise a daughter in Germany is just, it's not a good thought to have, you know. You want to keep your people safe, children safe, that they grow up in a friendly environment where they can feel safe any time of the day. This is just my opinion, but if a woman can't walk down the street at night and feel safe anymore, you have failed as a society, as a country.
It's not just your opinion, mate. It's the opinion of every single European with eyeballs who remembers what the 1990s and the noughties and even the 2010s looked like. It's the opinion of every single human on planet Earth who is capable of using logic and rationalism to come to the most mind-numbingly simplistic conclusion ever, which is hordes and hordes of angry, violent young men from the poorest countries on earth don't behave as well as women, children, or middle-class young men raised on a diet of Sesame Street, famed literature, and Kartoffelsalat. Okay, it's painfully obvious. And again, I'm ranting, but I'm not going to go at anyone watching this. Most Germans were against what Merkel did. Most Europeans have been against this for 40 years because it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. You're a product of your environment. Everyone knows this. It's the same with an animal, a dog. If you give it a barbed wire collar and leave it outside all winter and squirt it with the hose every day, by the end of winter, it's going to be a little bit pissed off. Yeah. Upper and middle class people, what do they do? A bit of white collar crime every now and then? 99% of them are alright because you're a product of your environment. If you're raised in a high trust, nice, clean society like all of us were in the 80s and the 90s, you grow up just inherently more tolerant of disagreement, polite to strangers, trusting and happy than you do compared to a bloke who was dragged up in the Dust Bowl in Somalia, who's had to fight tooth and claw for everything he's ever had, ever. And the cherry on top is practicing a religion that values livestock above women. I mean, it's not even all about the religion. A lot of people make it so. I think it's a big factor. But the real reason is angry, hairy-ass men from third world countries are always going to be a pain. And I've made this point before. If you imported 1 million 16 to 30-year-old men from Glasgow, that would cause chaos. Because young men are the most problematic people in society. So even if you did that, you'd have a bit of a crime wave on your hands if you dropped 1 million of them in the middle of Harrogate. But it's a totally different kettle of fish when you're doing it with men from the third world. Anyway, rant over. Carry on, rare, good-humoured German.
That's just my opinion. And it's kind of ridiculous. Every time something happens in Germany, politicians will just say, we have a knife problem. Knives are killing people. Women are dressed wrong. They should dress differently. And it's not a small thing, but you can also see it in the small things. You can't go to the supermarket anymore without feeling we're living in a crime-polluted society.
You know what's funny though? It's proof of globalism, isn't it? That conspiracy theory. It's exactly the same as in the UK. What he just said there, if Germany's got a knife problem. Do you remember when Rudu Kanubu killed all them little girls? And they said, you know what the real problem is? Amazon selling people knives. It's like, they're all working off the same hymn sheet. And I've told you a lot this millions of times. Anyone who claims it's a conspiracy theory, tell me how it is that they all agree on everything all the time. How is this? You'll have disagreements with people who are your best friend, your brother. Occasionally you'll disagree on things. Only when it comes to geopolitics in the modern world do you get a Frenchman, a Spaniard, a Canadian, an Aussie, a Kiwi, and a Belgian, and a Scotsman to agree 100% all the time on every policy, every hour of every day. Think about it. I mean, it's not even a conspiracy. It's like the Great Reset. The bloke printed a pamphlet, you can buy it still on Amazon, called The Great Reset, and he gave everyone a speech for an hour about the Great Reset, and then when the public heard it and went, that sounds terrible, it became a conspiracy theory. It's mental. They meet at Davos every year. They have these massive global corporations and organisations that meet regularly, and then when you point this out and say, how come a little fat German woman is on the same page as a random Australian fella on every single issue every day, they go, conspiracy theory. It's unbelievable. Sorry, I keep interrupting him. We'll never get to the end of this video.
Store, DM. You have to go in many of the drugstores in Berlin to the cashier to get them so they unlock the products because they get stolen so much. Even in the Edeka, in like a normal supermarket, they're locking up alcohol, they're locking up Red Bulls, things that cost $1.50. They're putting security things on them that need to be unlocked at a cashier. What kind of society is this becoming?
A third world shithole. I'll stop you there, son. I can answer that question for you. A third world shithole. That's what they used to do in a third world, because everyone's a thieving gypsy bastard. If you're in Somalia, well, now they're like that in Berlin and Bradford and Birmingham and Bognor Regis and Brussels and Barcelona and anywhere else that begins with B. That's full of Bs. And by B, I mean big bastard, burly blokes from Botswana. I'm impressed I didn't need to stop and Google pointless African countries once there.
Another example is Christmas markets. Last year there have been a few Christmas markets who got cancelled because they can't afford the terror defense anymore because it's too expensive. It costs millions of euros for big Christmas markets to put those barriers, terror defense up.
Yeah, what caused them? Did we need them in the 90s? One very specific ideology caused them, didn't it? Because again, you've never seen a 6-foot blonde fella called Hans ploughing a stolen truck through a crowd of school children, have you? Have you? Just like you've never seen a kilted Scotsman, a bowler hat wearing Englishman, or a sheep shagging Welshman burst into a Taylor Swift dance class and perforate a few children's kidneys with a bread knife. Never happened. Never happened before, except it does now because of one problem.
And if Christmas markets, the place of joy, the one thing people look forward to in December when it's cold and ugly outside, if they get cancelled because they can't afford terror defense, many things have gone wrong in this country. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame this on migration.
Here he is. See, that's where he dropped the ball, son. That's where you dropped the ball. You were spot on here.
And if Christmas markets, the place of joy...
Yeah, place of joy. Well, you were spot on when you said that we can't have joy anymore because we're living in the globo homo world. So you can't have joy anymore. You know why? Well, if they're miserable in Somalia and they're miserable in Morocco and they're miserable in Algeria and Pakistan, well then guess what? You've got to be a miserable twat in Stoke-on-Trent or Edinburgh or Munich or Tromsø in northern Norway. Doesn't matter where you are in the evil globalist scheming worldview. Doesn't matter where you are, we all have to be equally miserable. So don't tell me that you're not blaming it entirely on migration, because you should be. You should be, son. You were so close to a home run there. You reeled off all the reasons why everybody's miserable, and then you say that. Why? What are you thinking? What else is the reason? What? They changed the recipe for marzipan? The fridges for your pilsners aren't quite as cold as they used to be? That's the only reason. Well, and I suppose the scumbag politicians would be the real reason. So maybe he's going to get to that. Maybe I'm doing him over here.
If they get cancelled because they can't afford terror defense, many things have gone wrong in this country. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame this on migration. Migration isn't a bad thing per se.
Definitely is. Definitely is.
It's just... there's gonna be a few people who are doing stupid things and you have to select them out. But Germany is doing an extremely, extremely bad job at that. One of the bigger problems regarding...
Well, they've got us beat, haven't they? 2/3 of planned deportations fail. Well, I did a video on this last week, lads. 99.5% of all our planned deportations fail. So, as usual, that famed German efficiency, they've got us beat again. Damn the Germans. Why are they so much better than us at everything?
That is that even if the people come to Germany to look for a refuge, they get denied. And if they are from certain countries, which are considered not safe, Germany cannot send them back, even if they are not allowed to stay in Germany, if they're not granted permission to live, to become a resident, to work here, etc. So you have this huge group of people from refugees who come to Germany. Their permission to be here got denied, but they can't be deported to their home country because it's not safe there. So they can't work here, they can't do anything here, but they are here because they're kind of in limbo, and that creates a lot of problems because they can't be part of society, they can't integrate, and some of them, of course, cause some trouble. It's also understandable.
Some trouble. That is the understatement of the year, that, isn't it? Some trouble. Well, there we go. That's about it. You can go and watch the full video on his channel if you like. The only takeaway from that is it was kind of boring because it's the same in every single Western country, isn't it? Again, because of globalism. Every single country in Western Europe is being assailed by the exact same problem, and everybody in Western Europe is tiptoeing around the issue. Like, oh, I don't want to blame it all. Yeah, no, blame it all on them. If you can remember what 1985 looked like, you know the root cause of our problems. It's them. As I said, I'm a single issue voter, I don't care. You could publish the daftest manifesto ever. You could be talking about miracling solid gold toilets out of pink elephants' arseholes. I don't care. If it got to the bottom and it said, we are going to throw out on the rear every single thieving, lying, no good, parasite, grifter, criminal, illegal, every single person that's moved to this country in the last 40 years who isn't in the green on their income tax and national insurance contributions is getting threw out on their arse. I'd vote for you. I'd vote for you if you were a nudist and you went into Parliament every day with your cock and balls out. It's very simple. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of that. If you think radical living's right and there's other things that we should be blaming, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to read your deranged ramblings. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.